All right, let's go ahead and get started, y'all. How's everyone doing here today? That's good. What's good to see y'all here. So just to kind of jump right in, y'all. So this week is week six. Crazy, but two more weeks and we are halfway through the semester. Isn't that crazy, right? It almost feels like the class just literally started like yesterday. I was telling that to my Saturday class, and they're like freaking out too. They're like, "What? Midterms are in 2 weeks?" I'm like, "Yeah." Well, other than that, though, just to kind of jump right in, I don't have really too many announcements. First and foremost, I don't know if y'all saw outside, but there's some posters of like this, like Dia de los Muertos, like contest. If you're interested in participating in the show, it is a student show, and they're going to be showing their work at like this. I think it's like a bar or a restaurant. But if you're interested in doing that, like it's a really, really cool thing, and you can like get your artwork like it is something that you can put in your resume or CV if you're doing like teaching and stuff like that. So whether you're doing art, teaching, or anything related to those things, those are great things to have on like your resume slash CV. So if you are interested, I would take advantage of those. Another thing too is one thing that so I was telling this to a lot of students. For student shows, y'all, I highly recommend to just take advantage of them while you can. And the reason is because, especially if it's run by the school, and the like, for example, every 2 years we do like a really big student exhibition. I actually we might do that once a year. But y'all know we do like a student show here, right? Y'all seen that before, right? I highly recommend take advantage of those things. Like try to get into those shows. Sometimes the library has like contests for y'all to do. We have the Dia de los Muertos one right now, right? Those are really, really cool because like just so y'all know, when you're not a student anymore, you will have to do the professional version. And when you do the professional version, these things at the school here, you might not be able to access those things anymore, right? So a lot of these are going to be like shows, contests, or things that you find, and you're gonna have to like be like like proactive about it. But in addition to that, not that the student shows are like are free. Some of them are free, but most of the time, if you are doing a professional show, like for example, for me, whenever I apply for like the what is it, the Illustration West show, so it's like the Society of Illustrators show. I think I have to pay around like $15 a submission, and it doesn't even guarantee that I get in. So sometimes like I'm like, oh, I want to like maybe submit like four pieces because what if I submit one and it doesn't get it, right? And I end up spending like $60. And there has been times like before where what is that? Where I have submitted stuff and paid about maybe like 60 to $100 and didn't get into the show at all. So it's like it can be a very what is it? Not getting into the show is one thing, but what's more painful is just seeing my wallet and my budget go down, right? For like no reason. So I do recommend like take advantage of these shows because it's a great way to just kind of get started, like getting some things on your resume, especially since like we're kind of in like this situation. It's been like this for a while where like an entry level job requires like 5 years of work experience, right? Which, by the way, y'all, whenever you do have to deal with that, a little bit of a side note, but if you ever are applying for a job and it says that, um, you don't have to only have art experience on your resume. Like I know it sounds like surprising to hear. I went to like a couple like what is it like recruiting things, and like the one that really stuck with me was Nickelodeon's, and they were basically talking about how like a lot of people are stressed because like when they see that they're like, oh shoot, I don't have 5 years of experience like doing art, right? You can get your experience in so many other ways. I know, right? They don't tell you these things, like they do want to, of course, if you have art stuff, it's better to have that in there. But if you do a couple shows or like you do a couple contests and you do some freelance, right? And you're consistently doing it. And at the same time, let's just say you're working at McDonald's, right? Um, they actually use McDonald's as like an example. Like if you work at McDonald's, Starbucks, H&M, whatever, those kind of jobs, like I know like a lot of times like when we think about them, like or like when society thinks about them, they think of like minimum wage job. Oh, it's something I shouldn't like put on there, right? Even some people are embarrassed to like say it, but like but the thing is like you shouldn't be embarrassed about those kind of things at all. They're perfectly professional jobs. And like what I always tell my students is this, like you work at McDonald's or Starbucks, like, and you're afraid, you're telling me that like being able to communicate and work together as a team, being able to work in an adaptable and like high-paced environment, and being able to handle like what is it things as a group is like those are all really important things that also go with working into the industry. Like they're perfectly fine things to have on there. So the thing is like again, like you like don't be afraid to put like your normal experience, like was it was it work experience that's not art related on there. Eventually you want to like switch out with it. But if they see that you can work as a team, you're very professional and you know how to like and you can adapt to like fast paced stuff. And then they see on the side that okay, this person also does commissions. That's like actually enough for you to be qualified to like for them to consider you. But the most important thing other than that is your portfolio. And that's why I always tell people. I think I said this in the beginning of class. Um, I hate grading. I love teaching, but I hate grading. If I could teach this class without grading, it would be like a dream job. But I don't care about student grades that much. And it's because like I didn't care about my grades that much. And the thing is like my grades, like I got like mostly A's when I was an undergrad. With if you're doing masters, you have to get. I only got like one B, but like that's because like it was for art history and I didn't study. but um, but for like art and stuff like that, I got A's in all my classes. But it wasn't because I was trying to get an A. It was because like I was trying to make a good portfolio. Like I tell everybody, like I really don't care about grades that much because grades doesn't define if you're a good or bad artist. It doesn't showcase like what your skills are. Yes, it shows a little bit. Yeah, okay, you pass the class, you must know this, and like what is it? And you're a pretty good student, I'm guessing, right? But at the same time, like I know tons of people who got like better grades than I did as an undergrad, and like never even gotten like an art job before. It's all dependent on your portfolio, y'all. So if there's one thing I recommend to work on, it's always going to be portfolio. Other than that, though, Lightbox Expo, extra credit towards homework. Make sure to show a receipt and a picture of you at Lightbox with the 2025 sign on it. This week's like, I didn't give any tips last week, but this week's tips is going to be, so if you are like planning to like go to Lightbox, and even if you're not, just good to know. Uh, First and foremost, what I do recommend people is if you go on their website, they actually have like a Discord that you can follow, and I highly recommend joining that Discord. Not only will you get information about it, they also do like giveaways. So like, if you want to take advantage of that, you can. But what I really like about it is even after Lightbox is over, the Discord keeps going. And it's a great way to connect with people online and just kind of get news about the information. Right. And it's a great way to also just stay connected with like the industry too. So if that is something you're interested in, I highly recommend checking this out. Other than that, though, that's basically it for the tip this week. Is like I do recommend checking out like the Discord page because like you can get a lot of like really you can even get like sneak peeks of like the lineup of like who's going to be like at like who's going to be doing certain panels. So if you want to plan ahead like what you want to do over there, which again I highly recommend you all do, like the moment like you see plans, like it says right here, mark your calendars. Like seriously, like literally mark down like what you want to go see and then just go. I would just go to each of those places like whenever you have time because sometimes you're going to be at a panel, right? But just try to get tickets from those places and then plan to go to those areas like very very carefully because again the moment they only have like a 5 to 10 minute window they'll let you in, and if they run out of tickets then you can't even get in at all. So I would definitely plan ahead, and joining the Discord could be a great way to just kind of figure out like early like what plans there are, right? Any questions so far? Awesome, awesome. Okay. Other than that, other thing. Okay, so this Monday, so today and Wednesday, we're gonna have an optional critique. If you want to post it for your stuff, just make sure to post before we do get started. We probably won't have too many critiques for the optional critiques, but we will have another optional critique next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is the last Wednesday before the assignment is due. I do recommend like getting started on like the drawing and all that stuff. Like especially if you haven't started yet, like I would definitely get started on that. But what is it? Our assignment is going to be due. Oh, actually, no, sorry. It's. Oh, wait. Whoops, sorry. I'm looking at it wrong. So yeah, we have like one more week over here. Next week is just going to be lab and demo. So I just want y'all to like work on your stuff. But Wednesday we'll do one more like optional critique for anyone who wants to get like final feedback. And then on Monday the 13th we'll do a mandatory critique for the class. So for the 13th, everybody does have to post. Even if you're not finished with the assignment, you just have to post. It's going to be for points. So even if you're not finished, if you post, you get points for participating in the critique. But once like you submit your assignment, so assignment's going to be due the 14th at 9 a.m. The reason is because like I'm not going to grade it at like 12 a.m. like in the middle of the night. So if you want to pull one last all-nighter up to like Tuesday the 14th, you'll give me your assignments then, and then from there you should receive your grade back within a week. I'll also go over these things like next week too, so don't worry if you forget any of it. Like I'll make sure to like make sure everyone's updated. But the proportional division exercise is going to be due. Oh shoot, this is the wrong deadline. I have to change this. Um, so what is it? Other than that, like the next assignments that are due will be next week on the 6th, and then the 13th Monday. So those are the ones that we did last week. Anybody have any questions? Awesome, awesome. I got to change this deadline real quick. This is a typo. But we are going to work on this today. For those of y'all who want to download this just to kind of get a head start. Let's see. Okay. Today we do have one optional. We do have an optional critique. So if y'all do want to post your stuff, you can go ahead and post your stuff up. Then right now we only got one person. Is there anybody else who wanted to post up for a critique today? Oh, okay, cool. So we'll wait a little bit for everyone to post their stuff up, and once we have, oh, the heck. Can you see my screen now? Let's see. There we go. Like always, like really glitchy. There we go. It should be working now. But yeah, if you want to post up for your critique, go ahead and get it posted up. We'll take a look at it today. Other than that, afterwards, I kind of want to go over critiquing etiquette with y'all. So go ahead and post up your work, and I guess like we'll get started in like. So we got. I think I only got one person posting, right? Anybody else planning to post? Okay, and then Jaslyn, just give me a thumbs up when you're done. Oh, weird. Oh, what does it say?
Um, like I tried to upload information and tried to submit, it's just like not working.
Oh, weird. Did you want to email? Did you want to Canvas message it to me, and then like I could just open it from there? And then for those of you, if you want to just get ready for something, I guess we can just download this first if we're gonna do it anyways. Yeah, today is mainly going to be a lab day after this. We're going to work on this. We're going to do the critiques, and it'll be a lab day. Maybe towards the end of class, I'll get started on the project demos again, but I think it might be nice for everyone to just kind of work on exercise today because there's a lot. Just let me know like when you're done emailing it and everything. Otherwise, just so we move ahead too, we'll get started in like maybe like 5 minutes. Then Paolo, did you just want to show the picture today? Yeah, like mainly it's about like perspective picture and the red for font. Yeah. So
I just
oh, cool, awesome. Y'all see the new Photoshop update? It's pretty crazy. In a bittersweet way. Yeah, it's mostly on AI stuff because that's what they're focusing on now. What I do like about it is they're adding AI upscaling, which means you can make images bigger and it'll like fix your image and keep it at a nice quality. So that's really cool. But what I don't like about it is so they're putting a slight paywall on the AI features. So they will give you credits that you can use. Huh? Yeah. So yeah, anybody who like wants to use the feature, you get credit, and every time you use any of the AI features, it uses the, which I think is dumb. If you're paying a subscription for it, they should just give you everything. You know, what are they like EA? Like, right? Like they're gonna paywall all of like I'm already like how like it's already pretty expensive to like get this like suite, you know? Like the school provides it for us, which is like nice, but like if I have to pay on my own, like I mean, how about like everyone else? You know, like if they're not providing it for you, it is crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it's a what is it? Despite the politics of like AI and like the controversial parts, um, it's I just think it's like dumb to paywall it. Okay, go to open these ones up. Okay, so really quickly before we get started with the actual critique stuff, also let me go ahead and upload. I'm gonna try to upload yours to for you, Jocelyn, just to see if I can. That way everyone can like see it on their screen too. So just so I kind of talk about some critique stuff, y'all. So first and foremost, today is our very, very first like actual critique. Something I do want to talk about is like critiquing etiquette with y'all. So how I would handle critiques, what to think about critiques, and like just the process that we're going to be using in the class so that everyone kind of has some structure to it. So first and foremost, y'all, today is the first critique again. It is an optional critique, so we're not going to have too many critiques here, but in general, like we are going to get feedback today, right? Now, one thing I do kind of want to talk about, y'all, is so first and foremost, here's how critiques work in the class, and you can kind of use this as like a structure for the industry stuff too. But what is it? For the class, I'm gonna let y'all talk first. I'll set a timer and I'm gonna let y'all talk first. After y'all are done talking, I will jump in. I may jump in sometimes when it's a little bit quiet, and you can kind of think of me as a game show host. I may like ask questions that kind of like get people to think about certain things, right? But other than that, though, let's see. So during your critique, you are not allowed to talk. Okay, so I do give you one like warning afterwards, like we just move on. So you can't explain your work, you can't tell us what it is, all that kind of stuff. The work should speak for itself. So imagine if you were at a gallery or if you submitted your piece for the gallery, you wouldn't be standing there all day trying to explain your piece to people, right? Other than that, here are the three things that you can talk about. You can talk about feedback, so things that can be fixed. You can give compliments, things that you think that are working. And important is why. You have to say why. So for example, if I'm like, oh, this looks really good, but like I don't really explain why, it's not really a critique. It's more of just like a preference, I guess. you know. Other than that, same with like, oh, that looks really bad. Like what part of it is bad? Why does it look bad? Right? Is it the composition? Is it the lighting? Is it like the line work? Right? Like these are things that you have to kind of explain. So if you think like the line work isn't looking good, you could be like, oh, like the line work could use a little bit more work. I feel like you can push more thick and thins, etc. Like it could be more dynamic, right? So try to talk about like try to give explanations to why you have these like critiques. Other than that, context is also really important. Now, for this like assignment for context, so context I like to talk about in two ways. One is storytelling, but for this assignment, we don't really have a lot of like storytelling design in there, I would say, because it's such a technical assignment, right? But usually, like storytelling would be like, oh, that looks like a dog that's eating like a tomato, something like that, right? And that's important because, like, what if like it's not supposed to be a dog, right? If I'm like, hey, that looks like a dog, and that's like, oh, I meant to draw a cat. Why did that? What does that person think it's a dog, right? If somebody gives you context on what they think it looks like, which that's something you could do for this. You could say like, hey, like right now your drawing looks like this, but it kind of reminds me of this, right? That instead, right? That can give people some context into like, hey, like, so if you tell somebody, hey, this looks like a dog, but they meant to have drawn a cat, then in their head they could be like, oh, I was trying to go for a cat. I wonder like what I did so that it didn't read correctly, right? Another thing is context for the assignment instructions. So for example, like assignment instructions are like we do have to photograph like an image, we do have to like redraw it, right? So you could talk about like context in terms of are they doing the assignment correctly? Right? Like I was telling for my other class who was doing like stickers, like so for them, I was like, you can talk about like context in terms of the storytelling. So they had to make stickers for like a gift shop for like different countries. So I told them like it has to be when I look at your stickers, it has to be so that when I look at your stickers, I don't generalize everything. Like I want to know like just by looking at it, like it's from that country. Like for example, right? If I'm doing like Taiwan or something like that, right? I want to see like things that remind me of Taiwan on there. If I'm doing like Egypt, right, or Paris, like how do you make Paris like immediately Paris without telling anybody? Right? Like you don't even need to draw the flag. You don't even need to write a title for the sticker sheet. Like you can like just literally draw Eiffel Tower, you know immediately, right? Of course, like there's also an Eiffel Tower in Vegas, so you want to make that distinction very clear, but that would be an example of like context. So it's not just the storytelling part, but it's also are they doing the assignment correctly? A couple last things I want to talk about, y'all. So for critiques, first and foremost, I know like sometimes it is hard to hear a critique. Okay, like for some people, like they're very sensitive, like especially like if this is a piece you've been working for a while and hearing stuff about it, like it can hurt sometimes, right? But it's just words. Okay, we're not here to hurt you. We're not here to insult you. I think there's only been one time where I had to tell a student, like, hey, like you're actually kind of like insulting the piece now. It's not really a feedback anymore, right? But in general, like we're not here to like making fun of your piece. We're here to help. So be open-minded, y'all. Like, and it's so important to be open-minded during critiques. Now, I'm not saying, which by the way, it's also good to keep in mind, not what everybody says is going to be right. So, for example, okay, like sometimes people can say, oh, I think the color scheme kind of like reads as X, Y, and Z, right? And maybe they're not right. If they're not right, somebody else can jump in and say, hey, like, actually, I think the opposite. I think it actually does work, and here's why. And that becomes a learning situation for everybody because now we know what it's actually supposed to be, right? In addition to that, y'all, don't be afraid to like give critiques either. I think like the number one reason why people are like scared of giving critiques is because like they're scared of being like wrong or something like that, right? But it's okay to be wrong. Like this is like the place to be wrong, right? Like if you're like saying things that are incorrect, somebody here again can help you fix that, and then we can all learn from it. And be open-minded again. Like so personally for me, like I know I'm like teaching up here and stuff, but I believe I can learn something from every single person I've ever taught. Like I think every one of y'all here can teach me something. Whether it be like just something like art related or even non-art related, right? And I have learned from like I've known students who like they're a super beginner at like doing these things, but they still taught me something that I didn't know. you know I think again, like if you really feel like you can't learn from anybody in the room, that's really more of a reflection on that person who can't learn anything, who said that, right, versus like everyone else in the class. So be open-minded, y'all. What is it, when you get critiques, like be a good judge of what's right or wrong. I think that's really really important, right? Other than that though, what is it, last couple things. So I do have some students who are online. So here's how I like the class to like kind of like do the critiques. So for the critiques, for people in person, if you want to say something, raise your hand. But if I don't call on you and I'm just staring at the screen, just start talking. Okay. And it's not rude at all. Just start talking, please. Like some people were like waiting, and I'm like, I already told y'all to start talking. It's because like I have to analyze the piece too. Like sometimes if I'm like calling on people too much and I look at it, I don't know what to say because I haven't gotten time to like look at it. So just start talking. For my online people, if you want to say something, you could type it in the chat, or like you can what is it? Or you can like press a little raise hand button and I'll call on you, and then like you can talk like through the microphone and stuff like that. But otherwise, that's basically it, y'all. Anybody have any questions before we jump into the critiques here? Awesome. Okay. I think that's everybody here. So first up, we got Paolo. Let me go ahead and oh, I left my phone in the car. I was like, oh, well,
Just some questions. I don't really try anything yet, so I'm more about asking like, how should I bring a perspective of this, more than like, what do you feedback on it? So like, is this like just count as critique, or like any
if you want to critique, so for this, how I like to handle like references is we can talk about the reference, like since the values and like composition is like really important, we can talk about how the composition is and stuff like that. And then what is that? I can kind of tell you're trying to figure out the perspective. So like that's something I can jump into too. So, but yeah, of course. Otherwise, if you just wanted like perspective help, we could like skip yours and I can just jump to your seat or something.
That was all right, cool.
Oh, okay. Did you have a preference?
Just because because like I think it'd be more useful if I actually had draw something, but
Uh,
so we'll do that sometime.
oh, okay, sounds good. Well, we'll have another optional critique on Wednesday, and if you're not ready by Wednesday, we have one next Wednesday too. All right. Well, good job, Paolo. Let's go give him a round of applause.
I do want
All right. So let me go ahead and set a timer, y'all. I'll let y'all talk first, and then I will jump in. So first up is Jaslyn. So go ahead. Oh, sorry, wrong time. So we'll probably do around like 5 minutes for each of. Oh, by the way, after we're done with like, so I'll let y'all talk first. I'll jump in after. Once we're done talking, then like we can ask questions and stuff like that. So I forgot to mention, like for the critique, don't ask the person who is being critiqued any questions because if they answer the questions, then it gives us like it basically ruins the first impression and like it basically makes them explain their work. So don't ask them any questions and just wait until the end. After we're done with everything, then like we can ask questions. But cool. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right. So whenever y'all are ready.
yeah, um, I really like the attention to detail on this piece. I think it is one of the strongest things about it. It's like I just immediately go all the way around to like competition, and I can understand what things are and like how they're placed, and they feel like physical things, which is really cool. One thing that caught my eye though was like nothing next up. I'm not really sure, but like the floors like right now is kind of void, and it would benefit from some lines coming across, but with the tiling.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's quite sorry, quite text. But yeah, besides that, I think towards the back it kind of gets really busy, and I wonder if there's a way where you can put everything down a bit so they can get that space in your reference to like kind of come out more.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. It looks really great.
Yeah, I agree with that too. What is it? It's a little bit busy, mostly in this area. I feel like the foreground starts to blend into the background here. One way that you can, I totally agree with all that too. Like, I think like adding, I'm sure this will work in progress, so you can add floor tiles later, but definitely getting the floor tiles in can help a lot. One thing I recommend that you could do to kind of like lighten it up is either like get rid of some of the detail or use values to kind of help you separate like different grounds. So if what which y'all are allowed to do, you can go into like Photoshop and like edit the photos a little bit to kind of push the grounds a little bit. And I think that can really, really help separate these like different parts without it needing to like have like without you having to omit anything. In Photoshop, so I would just select the foreground and I would play around with like levels. Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it looks really good. I do see the dizziness towards the back, and maybe playing around with the line weights could help push some of the things for the towards the background.
Mhm.
The one thing that I keep looking at is maybe the perspective on that orange box
Mhm.
in the front.
Uh,
Just a slightly off,
yeah,
like the top of it more.
like this one here, right? Mhm. I agree with that too.
I feel like of it though, like walk in and go to that back of the wall and pick an item off.
Mhm. I agree too. And then before I jump to Sophia, Cameron.
Hey. Um, I was noticing that like it seems like a lot of the text right now isn't set in stone. Like a lot of it's squiggly out, so that's fine. But the text that's like actual letters, a lot of it is either like they're not correctly uh aligned with how it is in the left image, or like I'm specifically noticing that text that's um on the back left side wall that's in the case to the right a little and down It's like in the center, kind of, but a little bit to the left.
Like this part?
No, no, no. Like it says. It's hard to read because it's small on the screen. S sub something.
On the black.
It's in
Oh,
orange
like this
text.
part?
The one that's underneath it, on the back, the little
Oh, like this thing?
left of that, the left box.
Oh, this one.
It's like arcing upwards, kind of. A little bit, like the text itself, like the left hand and the right hand side are above the S on the left, and the last letter on the right are above the middle section of the word. So it's like kind
Hmm.
of U-shaped a little bit.
Awesome, awesome. That's a really good attention to detail. I think like for that part, it feels very rough right now. That's definitely something you can fix later. I think like the ones I would start to fix first is maybe like this one here. Like if you create like perspective lines and all that kind of going there, you can kind of create. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it a little bit, but you can kind of create like a perspective line that helps us, that kind of like boxes in like the letters, and you can draw them in there to kind of get the perspective down more. Also, like today, I'm gonna show you how to use the perspective tool in Photoshop. So if you make like font, you can literally just slap it on and like readjust it. And then what is that? I saw another hand earlier. Oh, Sophia.
I also agree, like, with the composition, like, I think you're doing like a great job so far with the composition, and I really like how like it's busy it is.
Mhm.
I also agree that like the perspective is kind of like a little bit wonky, and it's kind of like hard to tell where the vantage point is like directly going to. Like, yeah, also for the extreme, for example, I think I feel like it's like too flat.
Mhm.
So I don't like see any like perspective,
Mhm.
and I don't know where like the vanishing point is going through. And I think inside the I don't know what you call it, like the black box.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit too high. I
Mhm.
think it should be like a little bit low
Mhm.
from what I see from the photo.
Mhm.
And then for the boxes, I feel like it will be kind of cool if you add like a little bit more like texture, for example, like because like I feel like the boxes are just like a little bit too simple for me.
Mhm.
So like it just looks the same and it just kind of looks kind of like simple.
Mhm.
I think like going forward, maybe like try to add more like textures or like some like those like print stuff on the boxes and the lines too in that box.
Mhm.
You know the circle ones underneath.
Yeah, these ones right here.
Yeah, I feel like it's awesome. Gonna do that, but I know it looks like it's flat in the original photo, but like usually sometimes what people do is just like add like a little bit more texture, like let's say like underneath, like I don't know what you call it, like the circles underneath, like instead of like making it like too flat, they sometimes add something a little bit like a light bulb, for example.
Okay, for sure, for sure. So just to kind of like piggyback that, so I do agree right now, like they're simple and neat texture, but I also think they're in progress,
Yeah,
you know? So textures may be something I'll add a little bit later in addition to all this other stuff, but I do think like later on, once you get everything down, you can move forward with that. But at this current stage, like I probably wouldn't like I would probably focus on the drawing in proportions and forms a little bit more. Mhm. Awesome, awesome. Anybody else have any thing they want to talk about before I jump in?
Yeah,
Yes.
one thing I noticed that the foreground boxes,
Uh-huh.
it's like a shelf, those two like
Mhm.
saucer boxes higher up, on the right hand side.
This one?
Yeah, the
Uh-huh.
box on the right of it seems to be tangenting the edge of the other one.
Uh-huh.
I think in the reference it was just slightly not doing that, and I think one of them could overlap a bit more,
Uh-huh.
like go with it.
Awesome, awesome. That would help too. Definitely. Tangents can help like they kind of destroy depth, right? So if you like give a little bit more overlap, that can help. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump in. Jaslyn, I think this is looking really nice so far. So I think we got some really good feedback here. Just to kind of give you a heads up, and this is the same for everyone too. I would recommend like at this, like definitely think about the stage that the person's at right now when giving the critique. Just because like what is it? I don't think we should focus on details too much. I would just focus maybe on like form and like just making sure proportions are right so far. So even though these are just placeholders, you can change things like this later. We already talked about this part. The lights I would just make a little bit smaller, I would say. Other than that, though, like I would say, like some of like the proportioning, like over here, can be like the boxes feel like they could be a little bit thinner. Otherwise, like what is it? Like maybe like this like area over here, we can also make the A and like that like grade like a little bit thinner. And then like I think the only other part that I really want to like talk about was like we can give a little bit more space in this area too. Like because there's a little bit of dimension to those boxes there as well. But other than that, I think you're doing a fantastic job. For me, like maybe like this part over here also, like we can just like we can make this a little bit smaller just because like it feels like it is like yours is like tapering a little bit and it feels a little bit different than what we have here. But I do think like you have a really good base to start with. I would just maybe fix up those proportions first, and it's totally fine to have placeholders like this here first. And then when you get in and you get all the forms and proportions right, then I'll jump in and start adding the details. Otherwise, this is a really, really nice sketch, and I do think the composition is really strong too. Any questions for the class, Jaslyn? Anything we missed out on?
Also just wondering about like perspective issues, honestly, and like stuff like that. So
Mhm.
that's what I was mostly hoping for a bit of critique, I think.
Mhm. Awesome. Yeah, perspective wise, most of the stuff is looking good. I think it's just going in and editing some of the proportions. I think the only perspective that looks kind of funny is like the in is free thing.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like all the base stuff is like there. But cool. Any other questions or
No,
awesome. Anybody have any questions for Jaslyn? Awesome. Let's give Jaslyn a round of applause. And that's generally how critiques are going to work, y'all. So we'll basically do the same structure for like all the other critiques in the class. Cool. And also really quickly, just so y'all know, I do repost these on the discussion board. So you should be able to grab them and like see the notes and all that stuff. Let me go ahead and save this. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let me go ahead and save these real quick. All right. Next up, we got Sarah. So I'm going to let y'all talk about it first, then I'll go ahead and jump in.
Some of the things that are
so
that you got it. The ceiling is working really well.
Mhm.
And your forms are really good too. Like they're very accurate georeference.
Awesome. I agree with that too. And it is okay. Like, I mean, for the drawing, like sometimes people draw up everything, but in the end, like this is going to be rendered. Like a lot of times, like it's not just about what we can see. It's also like knowing what you don't want people to see, right? So what you can leave in and what you can take out.
One thing that looks a little bit odd is like that painting that's like that nice painting.
Mhm.
And I think it's by fine, but it looks a little bit off perspective wise.
Like you're talking about like this one right here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
that part is so young.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like you'll never know.
Yeah, I feel like if I have to draw over the reference a little bit, like if we're looking at this part, the painting is over here, and it feels like what is it? The nightstand's over here. So it's a very slight proportional issue, but it's not anything. Objectively, the drawing still looks really good. You know. Oh, sorry, we can't talk during the critique. No worries, it happens. What do y'all think of the composition?
So far, the perspective, good, even though there's like something that, but so far, it looks good. But I think the only thing that would be bothering me is on that fan. I don't know, like exactly how it's positioned, but I feel like it's like it feels like it's bending a little bit. I don't know if it's like still in a process or something.
Hmm.
I don't know. There's something about that like part of the fan that kind of
This part?
yeah.
Gotcha. It might help if you move the fan a little higher to match that. For me, this actually doesn't bother me too much. What maybe bothers me is the form over here. Like I feel like we can get a little bit more thickness like in that form. So yeah, something kind of like that instead. But like right now it's like very, very I feel like there's not enough like thickness over here.
I guess like just have. I think like I kept looking at the fan.
Mhm.
One like one could possibly be something or something.
Mhm.
That little triangle thing that's coming off of the fan, like slightly bigger, so that it's coming forward. It looks like it's blending in a little bit like a background.
Mm.
And I know because when you render it out, it'll be a lighter value. I think you can help push it like a little
Definitely. Yeah. And if you want to also, it is like this is like a really small nitpick, but it's like slightly angled also kind of like this. So it can give us a little bit more depth. It can feel a little less flat if you just angle it too.
Like, oh, it's, this could just be like, I don't know. As my eye is drawn to like the left wall, the trim on the top below the desk, going into the wooden wall. There's like a huge tangent going across the entire thing. One line kind of connecting to another. I wonder if that is wrong or what's happening there. Like it doesn't seem right.
You're talking about like this part going to like this part?
Yeah, it's like a straight
Yeah, that is very, very interesting. Like yeah, that is very, very interesting. That might be mostly because of like the photo, like vantage point and stuff like that. But yeah, technically, like usually we would see something kind of like this, right? It's good to point out. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and jump in. Sarah, I think you did a wonderful job. There's actually not that much that I want to say over here. I think for me, like it's kind of the stuff that we kind of talked about already, and a lot of the things are like really, really minor. I think for this one over here, so just to like, just I'll just circle it too. So I would just maybe move like the picture a little bit closer to the nightstand, or actually it might be better to move the nightstand a little closer and make it bigger. For like this like thing over here, I would move it up a little bit so that way you can like crop more of it off. So that way you have like this like curvature thing towards the top. And I would maybe angle the triangle a little bit more, just to give it a little more depth and perspective. And then for this thing over here, I would might move this over to the left a little bit more, just to get this a little bit more on the left side of that fan also. You know, other than that, if you really want me to nitpick, this is so small, but like, it's just good to keep. It's just good to know. Like, so for me, like when I look at perspective, most of the time, lines are going to be converging towards like a vanishing point, right? So when I'm looking at like this over here, like this line and this area is slightly thicker than like this area, but it should be that like it should get like thicker as it like sort of like goes towards us. You know, so that would just be it's a very small nitpick, and I wouldn't say like it makes the image look like bad or anything. I still think it's objectively like really a really nice drawing. But when you are doing perspective, it's just good to keep in mind so that way like when you are working on other stuff in here, you can like give that illusion of perspective too. But other than that, though, I think you're doing a great job. What I would do is just fix up these proportions, and then afterwards, I would just like go back into your line work and like sharpen up whatever you need, and I would start blocking everything and valuing. Start valuing too. But other than that, that's basically it. Any questions for the class? Anything we missed out on?
Um, I was gonna say, honestly, like I'm even like suspicious about this photo. I don't know if I like the composition of it, and I even wonder if I should go back and relight the room so you can see the floor, because a lot does disappear by that bed. So I was just wondering if you guys think I should just start over.
I'll let y'all answer first, and then I'll jump in. What do y'all think? What do you think of the composition? Do you think Sarah should start over? Are there any ways that we can like adjust this without starting over? Or maybe you think it looks fine.
Honestly, I like the dynamic one.
Yeah, it's very unique, and I think if you did feel like there's things disappearing, you can add it back to yourself, whatever is missing. But yeah, I think like the focus of the light is pretty clear, so I like the beats are certainly unless you really don't like it. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I totally agree with that too. Anybody else want to give their 2 cents real quick? Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it's fine this way. We can still see some texture on the floor, so it's not like it'll be like super empty or anything like that. And I agree with Paolo. You can literally like just go back in and like add it in. Something that you can do is you can maybe take 2 photos. You can retake this photo, but with all the lights on, so that way you have a reference of like what the floors look like. And you can push and pull certain details based off of like this reference. But yeah, I think the composition looks fine. Like we have a clear focal point. Our eyes are moving to all the other parts of the room. There's also interesting parts of the room that our eyes can actually land on as well. And I think the lighting is unique too. Like what is it? It's a very like straightforward lighting, but it like immediately hits like all the interesting parts. And then from there, like it does a really good job separating depth as well. Awesome. Our pleasure. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm looking at the more like I was just curious, like, is the ceiling like slanted a bit, or is it
Um,
flat?
Honestly, I took the photo in 0.5 so I could
Oh.
get the whole room, and I was like this.
Yeah.
And so with 0.5, it definitely is like a fisheye lens,
Mm.
but that's warped it a little bit.
Okay, thanks.
Good question.
Like trying to figure out where the
Yeah,
edge is.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought the ceiling like
It's a higher for sure. The yellow right there, I guess, is where the wood ends.
yeah.
yeah.
Your lighter picture, you could do that, right?
Yeah, I was standing in the room and doing it.
Yeah.
Hmm. Good question. Yeah, a lot of times if I'm doing stuff like this too, unless like I'm gonna like copy everything exactly, like I take like multiple photos in different lightings just so I have like one for like details and one for like so it helps with like the development of like the piece. Cool. Any other questions before we move on? All right, let's give Sarah a round of applause. Awesome. Okay. Um, so I think that's all we have for today. Like from what I saw, we only have like 3 people post. Um, so really quickly, is there anybody who did post that I'm just like skipping, even though I see it here? I'd just like to double check. Awesome. So this is just a nice, I also like to do these optional critiques because it's a nice little sample of how our critiques are going to be like. On the 13th October, when we do the mandatory critiques, we'll go through each person and it'll basically be the same thing as well. Usually it takes up the whole class, but because we only got like 10 people in here, it might not. But in general, like we will probably spend a little bit more time on the mandatory critiques just so people can get a little bit more feedback. But other than that, though, any questions on how critiques work or any questions about this before? We'll probably take like, usually I want to take a break at 8, but like I think we might take a break right now and until 8, and then when we come back, we can get started on the exercises. And then after the exercise, it'll be like lab time. But any questions on this? Nice. And then if you want to post, you can post again this Wednesday. I will be accepting what is it, like optional critiques this Wednesday as well. And then the next time will be next Wednesday after. So I do need like a day that I just focus on like the rendering of the assignment as well. But cool. Let's go ahead and let me go ahead and save this. And then we're gonna go ahead and take a break, y'all. Y'all can come back at like 8:05, so it's like 15 minutes. Once we get back, we'll start proportional division. That should take about like 20 minutes, and then from there, like it's just gonna be lab for the rest of the time. But cool. See y'all in a little bit. Oh, I was just gonna say, if you post it, I'm just gonna upload your stuff back on the discussion board, so that way you can like look at the notes and stuff. What's up, Sophia? Cal State Fullerton, I guess.
Worse.
What's up?
I've been through worse.
Oh, an art center? Yeah, they're brutal. Yeah, they're very brutal.
This how's it called? As a pianist. It's where like you draw like like
Uh-huh.
and then we had like a final project too.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like a day where like we have to do like critiques the whole like last time.
Uh-huh.
And then a rumor was like called saying like, oh, like one of the students like screamed at the first professor angrily because like he couldn't take the critique seriously. So and then like the professor just like started like getting like emotional.
Oh.
It was really bad.
Oh, that is bad, yeah.
I was like, oh no way that happened. And
Oh,
oh yeah, like a student got really pissed. Like he just like started cursing at the professor and everything. I'm like, oh no.
oh man, that's like, yeah, it happens. I
And then
I've tried being the hard ass before, but I feel like for me, I found more success because I totally get it. Like at the same time, people should just be professional about it because, like, I mean, we're just here to get feedback, and like, what are you paying for if you're not getting feedback, right? But like, what is it? I've tried being the hard ass, but it just people just don't get it still. So like, I just found it to be like a lot more efficient if I'm just like straightforward and professional, and I save like if I really have to rip it apart, I save it for when I have to. Yeah, that too. Yeah. Like,
a student, one of my friends told me like, oh, like the thing was like his art was that like good. So
uh,
that's why like the teacher was like being kind of like a hard ass to him. And then I guess he just like got kind of like I don't know, sensitive with
uh,
and then he just like started like going off.
Like some people like haven't got critique before.
mhm.
It's kind of nervous for the first time in critique.
Yeah,
Cause
especially if
like
you don't know what this is like how it's supposed to work.
Mhm.
I mean they gotta know what they gotta know.
Yeah.
You know, that, like, you gotta understand that in critiques.
Exactly. I always like I've actually at the school I've been in a situation where I wasn't even being that mean about it, but the person couldn't handle it and they actually like screamed at me.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then I just stopped the class and I was like, "Hey, look, like I'm sorry if you're offended, but like we're just giving you feedback. You know, we're not trying to like insult you. We just want to help. If you don't want the help, that's fine. We can stop right now. But like this is like just the nature of a critique and what I'm doing, it's not even as bad as like what my teachers did to me.
Pretty sure every artist has to like do that.
I had a teacher, he took my drawing off and ripped it in front of me.
Oh,
Yeah. And then
Yep.
he said like, and he asked me how long I took on this. And I said like, it took me like a couple hours. And they're just like, yeah, it looks like total shit for a couple hours.
no.
And I'm just like, you know, my best advice, y'all, for critiques is,
Just like suck it up.
yeah, well, yes, suck it up. But like, I would say like, well, first and foremost, like know when someone's insulting you versus not, you know, but at the same time, my best advice is don't say anything until the critique's over, even if you're mad. And when it's done, just say thank you and move on. That's it.
Professor was being a hard ass to like other students before. Like he just said, "Oh, this looks shit."
Mhm.
And then, yeah. really, yeah, really helpful.
That professor just
I just found that funny too.
yeah,
Just like professors being like brutally
that one who worked on your paper, like,
honest.
you know,
Like,
like necessary at all.
It wasn't.
Did he? Was he like?
could possibly spend that money too, like,
Mm.
for too.
Was he like a good teacher?
He was a good teacher. Yeah.
I guess it makes it more, but still, it's like
It was for a typography class, and then I did not like typography, um he was a really good teacher, and he really knew his stuff. He's kind of the he. I kind of felt like he deserves to be a hard ass because he's just like so like for me personally, like I guess this is a little bit different for everyone, but I like it when a teacher's really hard on me, like respectably hard, not like insult my face hard. But if they're like, oh, because I've had I've had teachers where they were like tutoring me like at home, and like afterwards, my brother and sister were like, "How are you not crying?" And I'm just like, "Why should I cry? Like he's just trying to give me advice."
Yeah, just help.
And yeah, like I'm paying for this, like if he's not being hard on me, then he's the fact that he's being hard for me, like as long I'm not saying all hard ass teachers know what to say and actually do a good job at it, but the ones that do, they do it out of like care and love,
Yeah,
so I knew that this came from, even though like seeing the paper get ripped up and everything was like honestly like made me so mad, but like um he made some really clear points that I didn't follow the instructions correct in some parts, and like if he was a client, that I would have been fired. And it was a tough thing to watch, but after that day, I never ever ever skip on any. I go back and I check every instruction. It taught me to be professional about that part. So there are times where like it is completely unnecessary, but like if you find what is it, like a teacher who's a hard ass and they care at the same time, it's something that I feel like it's a little more rare nowadays. So
I took a typography class before. It literally gave me a headache. Because like it was like actual my first time using InDesign.
mm,
And then when like my professor was like teaching like, oh, how to use that and that, it's like it's basically mathematical stuff. It's like no. And then our final was to make a magazine. But, like his critiques are really funny.
mm,
It's really funny. Like he's just like straightforward. He roasts people and then just gives everyone, you know, like not in a rude way.
it's like a
But like,
procession.
yeah, he's really funny. I like it. Like if you go to like art center, listen to their critiques. It's kind of hard. Yeah, art center is really hard. It's like yeah, like they give you like harsh assignments for sure. Like I would say like 2 assignment that is due next week or something. And they always take like 5 or 8 hours to finish. So yeah, I've been through it.
Okay, kind of study places.
Yeah, I have some
Mm.
skills in art center. I think I've been in art center for like a year and then I just decided to take a general education
Mm.
because of tuition. It's too expensive.
Yeah,
So,
that's smart.
because it's a private school. It's a private school, so it just makes sense that it's expensive. So
The quality classes are
yes, I will say like um, I used to teach high school students a lot. It was like a private tutoring place, and like a lot of them want to go to art center. Um, but I talked to them about different schools because not that art center is not a good school, but it's incredibly expensive. Like it's at one point it was the most expensive school in the whole United States. Um, but also at the same time, like something I kind of realized was like a lot of people think going to art center is like pay to win, and like, but like I know a lot of people who go to art center and they fail and then like they don't ever go back, and like it's
yeah. Then it's dropped down.
yeah, exactly. Now you're like down like 40K for a semester, right?
Because like for me, I think for like monthly paid would be like 10K. But if you get like a scholarship, you get a discount.
Yeah. Mm.
But like for a year tuition, it would be like 30K a year.
Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah,
It's really bad. Like,
it's
like
different.
my dad was like, "No, you need to like stop." You need to
But yeah, I always tell people the reason why it's also so expensive is because it has one of the best connections. So like if you are trying to get into like entertainment design, like I mean, was it Nathan Folks is there? What is it? If you're a fan of like League of Legends, like Anino's art like was one of like the students there. So connections are great, but it's really like but something I learned is like for art and education, it's really what you make of it. Like I know a lot of people who went to like Cal State Fullerton who ended up being like phenomenal artists, like better than like some like actually a lot of like art center artists I've seen before. Same with like Long Beach. Like one of my close friends, like he went to Long Beach and like their program is great. And then like he's done splash he does splash art for like Fortnite before. He's done splash art for like Marvel. He did one of the Godzilla covers. Like he's a phenomenal like it's really what you make of it. Like, there's so many resources out there, and like sometimes it's like you really have to make the most of like what you have, right? Like even for me, like I went to the Art Institute, which doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. But like for me, it was because like they gave me a full ride. They're like, hey, you can come here for free, or you can pay like 30K a semester at Art Center. You know, yeah, it was like literally like I literally just applied for a scholarship and they gave me like 50K and then financial aid just paid for the rest of it. They're like, oh, here's like grants and stuff. And then like all the people like I mean like one of my teachers, he was the VFX artist for Iron Man 3. Because like it was in Costa Mesa at the time, so we were really close to Blizzard. So a lot of our teachers just came from Blizzard, so we had really, really awesome people there. And like but even with those awesome people, there's a lot of people who just didn't take advantage of it. I know people who don't never taken art school and they're like better than me at painting, and it's all because of YouTube. Like it's really
busy answer.
like I always tell people for art, school is a tool. Like it's not like you going to a better school isn't going to make you a better artist. Like you practicing art and like actually like making art, that's what's going to make you a better artist, right? Yeah. Like of course like meeting those people like they have tons of insight, but I know people like who are in classes with like which is like James Peck or like John like Park, but like they never ask questions, so it's like they only get what they got from like the lectures, but exactly.
I know like some people got into Blizzard by going to the Laguna Beach.
Yeah, Laguna has really good stuff too.
Laguna would be like better for like fine art students because like I always see like a lot of like fine art work at Laguna.
Mm.
Like they're pretty good.
They are pretty good.
It's just like the school is really
It is a bit small. It's also a little expensive. That's also I actually did.
like the cheapest one than Art Center or Otis.
What's up?
Isn't it cheaper than Otis?
Otis is Art Center is probably the most expensive one. Otis is pretty expensive too, and Cal Arts is quite expensive. Honestly, for if I have to get budget-friendly options around this area, it's gonna have to be like either Cal State Fullerton or Long Beach. Those are like your most budget-friendly options. Um, Otherwise, like I think Fulton Community College is a really great like budget-friendly option. But I always recommend people, even like outside of like college here, because again, like school isn't going to get you a job. It's like your skills that are going to get you a job, right? Like I would recommend take more workshops, like go to like different talks, events, Lightbox, etc. Go to demonstrations and just have fun with your art. I think like we complicate things a lot as like humans, but like the easiest thing I can say is like just make art and love what you make, and like honestly, like you'll get better at it, and people will notice you if like you do, get good enough at something, and someone will notice you, right? Someone will pay you to do it, right? Like, but yeah, that's like my 2 cents on like art school is like because I was debating on going to like a bunch of these schools too, but I ended up just going to this one, the one I chose because it was free for me, and like that ended up being like a phenomenal experience, And at the time, people were making fun of like the school. They're like, "Oh, that's the school on TV, huh? Like it must not be that good if like they have to put a commercial out." Um, but our teachers were great. Not our administration. I hate our administration. They're 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 a for-profit school. which means that they're a business. So they got in mostly in trouble because they were just trying to make people spend too much money. But overall, like I don't all the teachers I've had there, they've been like I mean, one of my teachers was like the background painter for like really old Disney movies. So that was really great. Um, but yeah, it's really what you make of it, in my opinion.
You got it for free. Like, who's winning here?
Exactly.
My dad's friend, water, he currently works at Warner Brothers. Like, she told me I used to go to Cal Arts to study art. Her first job was at Disney, and then she moved to Warner Brothers because like Disney was like getting so bad. So she had like,
Mm.
because like I don't know if this is true, but apparently like Disney's using like some AI stuff
Um,
from new movies or something. I don't know.
when they made Wish and Luca, there were some.
AI stuff.
I'm not gonna say there was, but there was some suspicion. Um, because that's why like Wish was like so flat. People were saying. But Disney does have their own AI generator. So what they are doing is they're making their own AI generator that only takes stuff from their artwork. So that way it's not grabbing from other people's artwork. But here's my thing on that is okay, okay, if I'm gonna be really honest, despite politics, I think AI can be a very useful tool if done correctly. But if you're only grabbing art, if AI is grabbing art from like other artists, and these artists are making AI art, it's going to create like a very incestuous cycle where like all of a sudden, like all the styles.
It's so
It is like that's how everyone's described it to me. It's like it's eventually it's all gonna look the same.
back
You
then,
know?
like we didn't really have like a lot of like technology stuff back then. That was like back when my team was up, and then they had to use like actual like Maya to draw the reference
Uh-huh.
of the character. And they said like it's because we didn't have any money to like pay the animation. That's why there's like barely any like movements in the open.
Mm,
Like Lilo and Stitch, they had like barely any money to make like the animated work on the characters.
dang, Little Stitch is like one of the best though.
I don't know.
The art is so good.
Like from what I heard from the director, like they barely made any animated from the background. So like I was like kind of shocked. Like Lilo and Stitch is like one of the greatest movies.
Yeah, it's so good. Okay, it's at 8:07, so I do got to get started on this. So for those of y'all who want to follow along, today I want to teach y'all proportional division. So feel free to download this assignment and throw it up on like Photoshop or whatever you're using. We'll go through each of these one by one just so I can kind of double check and make sure everyone's on the right track. So just to kind of get started talking about it, y'all. So proportional division. Proportional division is basically a perspective technique that we can use in order for us to find out the proportions of certain things. So for example, let's just say you're making a railroad, a fence, or windows. How do you know how big the windows need to be as they recede? How do you know how big they need to be as they come closer, right? How do you know each one of the like stakes that you make for the fence? Like the spacing between them gets bigger or smaller. Like how do you know the exact size, right? So today we're going to go ahead and figure that out. So really quickly, y'all, first and foremost, so we'll do the first one together. It's super simple. So I want to show y'all again a really quick trick. So I'm sure this is pretty familiar, but I'm going to go ahead and draw a box here. So first and foremost, y'all, you need to remember how to find the middle of the box. Who can tell me, how do you find the middle of a box?
Like each word, basically.
Yeah, draw an X, right? Draw an X, and then your middle's right here. And this is going to be really important for later, but it's just good to remind y'all that this is how that works. Now, something I want y'all to notice is this. When I divide the box in half, check this out. When I divide the box in half, we now have two rectangles. You all see that, right? Like right there. Now, both of these rectangles are the same size, but something you notice is when I start from the bottom left or the bottom right, and it goes to the other corner on the other side, they all meet in the middle right here, right? Now, taking a look at this, we can actually kind of figure out how proportional division works. So for example, okay, if I take this idea that we have, this concept where drawing an X is going to find the middle, right? And I divide it into two parts, we can see like by drawing a line through the middle and going to the other side, it actually gives us the other block, right? So here's what I want to show you. So check this out. So for the first one I want y'all to do, you're going to draw a line starting here. Now, how do you find the next line kind of going down like that, right? How do you know what to draw? Simple. So here's what you're going to do. So I'm going to do this in blue so y'all can see it. Actually, I'll use the line tool so it's easier to see too. So if I grab this corner and I draw a line through the middle of the line and it touches that part of the perspective, when I let go, this is where the next line is supposed to go. Does that make sense, everyone? Anybody super confused so far? Awesome. So let's do that again. I'm going to draw a line going through the middle of this line, and then when it hits that top orthogonal line, I draw a line down. Let's do that again. And that's basically how you find out the spacing of each of those parts as it sort of recedes. Anybody super confused? Anybody need me to like re-show it? Okay, here's what I want y'all to do is for the first just for like 5 minutes, I want y'all to do the first one over here. So I want y'all to draw like the next 5 lines. So kind of like what I did. And if you want to keep going, you can keep going too, just for practice. But I just want to make sure everybody gets a hang of this first part, because when we do the second part, it'll get a little confusing because the second part will have a space in between each of the boxes. So how do we find out the next window and stuff like that? Yeah, maybe at like 8:16 we'll move on. So go ahead and try that out, y'all. Draw a line, right? A vertical line, and then from there, grab one of the corners, go through the middle, and when it hits the other orthogonal line, you draw a line down. Later, I'll show y'all some tools that you can use for like in Photoshop and like other programs as well. Because there's a lot of really fun tools that will facilitate the process. But in like 3 minutes, I'll show you how to do the next one. The next one's a little trickier. Anybody confused or need help with this part? So again, we draw a line through the middle, and once it hits the other part, you draw a line going down. For depth too, if you want to push depth, you can make your brush like smaller as it recedes. That's like one way you can push depth. Also try to be like precise about it, yo. Something about perspective is, so for me, form is probably the most important, form and shape are probably the most important elements in like 2D art. You know, because in order to like see things, we need like an idea of shape or form in there, right? But perspective is really important too, because perspective is a subcategory of form, right? Like because of perspective, we're able to understand the depth of form and we're able to understand how we see it from a specific camera angle, right? But because like perspective is something that's so it's very accurate, right? We as humans, when we see perspective, it's really easy to tell if it looks wrong. So that's something I would recommend y'all to definitely like try to be a little more precise about. So y'all see this, right? I immediately could tell I was wrong because you see how it didn't touch the middle exactly, right? So it's a little bit funky. So it needs to touch exactly the middle and then it goes down. You see, now it looks better. Previously, it looked like it was the same amount of space in these areas, but that is incorrect, right? It needs to get smaller as it recedes. So the line actually should be a little bit closer and more precise. Okay, it's 8:16, so I do want to show you all this one here now. So what if you had multiple windows and you had spaces between them, right? Now, in order to figure that out, we need to figure out this area over here. And by doing that, we can figure out this area over here. But how do we do that, right? Now, I already got the line down over here for the first part, so it makes it a little bit easier. But how do we figure out where the window is for the next part? Simple. First and foremost, let's go back to the rule where we need to find the middle. So pretend that this area in between the windows is the middle between, so on the left side, we have a window that's drawn. On the right side, we need to draw a window, right? So this middle part is the middle between those two windows. Now, if I use the X technique, so if I draw an X over here, right? I'm going to draw an X kind of like this, right? Once I draw the X, let's be more exact about it. Once I draw the X, this tells me where the middle of this part is. Y'all see that, right? I'll draw with the red line. It's going to be this part right here, right? Once I have that, here's what I can do. I can grab this corner here. Instead of having it go through this part, I'm going to have it go through the middle of that space. And it's going to keep going until it hits this part, kind of like that. And then from here, that's where the next window is going to be. So kind of something like this. By the way, y'all, there's not enough space on the right to draw two windows, so just draw one window on the right and two on the left instead. Sorry, that's my bad. I actually meant to fix that this semester, but I just totally forgot. But kind of like this. Anybody have any questions so far? So let's do the other side. So if I want to find out the next window on the other side, I'm going to draw an X over here, kind of like that. So let's go ahead and draw an X. That's where the middle is going to be. Once I know where the middle is, let's grab this line on the corner. Let's have it go through that middle line. And then from there, we draw another line going down, and that becomes the next window on the left. Same thing if you're trying to figure out the spaces, y'all. So for this part, I'll draw X in here. So I'll do it in a different color. Feel free to use different colors to help y'all. Like, actually, when I'm drawing, I actually love drawing in different colors. Half of it is because, like, did I show you Maria Suzuki? Let me see. I just love Maria's work. But yeah, one of the reasons is I'm just pretty inspired by Maria's work. But I don't know what happened to her website, but just to go to like the images here. So she does a lot of like just like loose leaf drawing, and they always look like she loves to use like different colors and stuff like that. So I find it pretty fun to like draw in different colors. Here's some cups that like she drew on. But another reason why I find like using colors to be really helpful is like it's great for just organizing your sketches versus like what you want to like confirm as like your line work. Yeah, yeah. She just uses like colored pens. So like what is it? When I was like really into her stuff even more, like I bought like a set of like different colored pens and I would just like draw with them on the sketchbook. And it's really fun because I mean it's a little more refreshing. It's kind of refreshing too because if you're only using one color to draw all the time, like this is a nice little like it's nice to just go off color a little bit. But I love her work. Super super beautiful stuff. And really fun uses of color too. But once I have, but basically again, you're literally finding out the middle. Once you have that, you draw a line going through the middle, and when it hits the other end, kind of like that, you draw a line going down, and there's the next space. Y'all see that, right? Anybody have any questions? Awesome, awesome. I'm going to give you all a little bit of time to work on this. And then afterwards, we'll do the last one together. So let's try to maybe for like 5 minutes. So 8:26, we'll go ahead and continue. After that, we'll work on the last one. And then from there, like it's just lab time for the rest of the class. So I want y'all to just kind of work on your assignments today, projects, exercises, things like that. And then Wednesday we'll move forward on the project stuff. Wednesday might be boring, but I might be like blocking it most of the time. It's part of the process, right? Just help a little bit to see how people block it. Here, sorry. Can we go ahead and zoom out so y'all can see my demo? Yeah, proportional division can be really helpful, y'all. One other way that you could use it is like, let's just say you're drawing like a spider or a bee or a car, like an insect or a car or something like that, right? Like you could figure out like where the other leg is on the other side for like different insects. If you're drawing cars, you could figure out like how the wheels look like on the other side, right? If you're interested in that, in like getting more in detail with that kind of stuff, I do recommend taking, if you haven't yet, basic drawing for entertainment arts. That's a really good class. It is a traditional class, but they'll dive a little more into it. Perspective is also a great class. Garrett was teaching it before, but I don't know who teaches it now. Is that what your class is called? Yeah, that's still class. Oh, okay. So because oh, nice, nice, perfect. Yeah. Well, that's that Bill's teaching it. I was like wondering, like, who's teaching it now? Because the bro's Garrett, but maybe Garrett and Bill were both teaching it. Yeah, Garrett moved to Mississippi though. Yeah, he got a full time job there. So yeah, so very happy for him. We're gonna miss him. I should say hi to him. Like, yeah. Well, the average home price is gonna be around $80,000. I know, like I know. Pressures like millions. Yeah. It's crazy. The average home price in California is 1.2 million, but the average price for homes in the United States is 400,000. So we're on the high end of the average. Way higher. And my girlfriend and I, we really want to try to find a house like when we get married and stuff, but I was telling her like I think we got a red on around here. What you could oh, sorry. Like, if you find a place that you know you want to stay in, it could be worth it. It could be. The one thing you know, I don't know. You take forever. Yeah, it's a it can be. The only thing we don't want to be is house broke. So as long as like we can live, and I mean like not just eat and stay alive, like as long as we can enjoy life. Yeah,
Houses in California.
it is. Anybody need help? You know if y'all need help with this part. I know it can be a little confusing, but it should help y'all out with like your assignments too. Like especially if you're working with things that do have like a lot of like repetitive like patterns that are in perspective. In like a minute, I'm going to show you how to do the bottom part. The bottom part is really easy. I'm going to show y'all like a really cool tool for perspective, and it helps me cut down a lot of time on perspective stuff too. So I saw some of y'all have like floor tiles, wallpapers, things like that. It'll really help with that kind of stuff. Well, Phil just texted me. He's just checking up. Yeah, it's so nice of him. Yeah. He's like, oh, just wanted to make sure you're doing fine. Okay, so the last thing I want to show y'all really quickly is this bottom one here. So for the bottom one, I want you to add a window to all sides of like basically like all of these like cubes. It's really easy to do. So I'm gonna start off by just drawing like a box, kind of like this. Let's actually do it on a new layer. And it doesn't matter what size the box is. Just make sure that when you do draw on this layer that it's like that you don't have like random marks on it, just to like make it easier. And I'm just gonna go ahead and draw a window. So I'll do it on another layer over here. And let's actually make the window a little bit more unique. So we can go ahead and add like details to it, things like that. Right? And then we can even add like some details. You don't have to add your windows that make your windows as detailed as mine. I just want to show you all like really quickly like the power of like of this tool. Yes, power. So here's like a window, right? Dude, let's just copy and paste that. More symmetrical. Okay, so here's a window, right? Now that I have this window, I'm just gonna go ahead and copy and paste it onto these other ends over here. There we go. Let's move this down. Okay, so here's wall number one. And just to show you all too, let's do this. Let's draw a little bit of texture here. So I'm gonna have a little bit of fun with this. So we just suggest some textures. Okay, so here's my wall, right? Now, this is the trick that you can do with your assignments too, y'all, but let's just say you have something flat that you want to throw on top of this in perspective. First and foremost, I would draw the flat object or flat like design, whatever it is. Once you have it, you're going to press Control T or Command T if you're on a Mac, and these little transform things will pop up. Let's go ahead and move it here. I'm going to right click and then you're going to go to Distort. Now, Distort is really cool. Basically, Distort allows you to take any of these four corners and you can literally just like stretch it out to the perspective of whatever you're trying to draw. So something kind of like this. So whenever I'm doing like skyscrapers and things like that, I literally just have like I literally like which by the way, something I recommend you to do for skyscrapers and stuff is whenever I make window patterns, I save them so I can reuse them for other assignments. You know? So I just like click and drag it in and I just like distort it, right? But literally like you just distort your design onto here and then oh sorry, I didn't do a very good job distorting. One of the parts was off. Okay, we'll do it to this one over here. So literally, I'll just like grab these. Let's go ahead and distort them. We'll put them onto each corner. So one over here, and then one over here. And there we go. Now all the windows are in perspective. You all see that, right? Anybody have any questions? Awesome. Actually, before I do that, let's make a duplicate so I can like, keep doing it. So a lot of times if I'm doing like floor tiles, bricks, things like that, it's really, really easy. Grab this one here, Control T, distort. I know it says to add windows, but if you want to try doing a pattern, like a brick pattern, or if you want to try doing like, what is it? Like a mural or something like that, you can do that. So you see something kind of like this, right? Even just to show y'all like more examples, let's just say I want to throw like a mural on it, right? So I just grab like a random like piece of art. Like I can copy and paste the artwork like onto here, Control T, right click, distort, and then I can move these to like the corners over here, kind of like that. You see, and now it looks like the art is on, now it looks like the art is on the wall. Y'all see that, right? So it's a really powerful tool. Let's grab a like a brick texture just so y'all can see like how textures work too. So sometimes like if I'm if you like matte painting and stuff like that, right? Like when you're like matte painting or like making like textures and things like that, like you can also hold control or command to like access the distort tool really quickly. But you see, there we go. Now that brick is in perspective. Anybody have any questions?
We can find photos online like that.
You can maybe do like one of the boxes that way, but for the rest of them, you can like do like windows and like do drawings to kind of test things out.
Okay.
Yeah, do some drawing and like experimenting. So I'm open to it. But cool, any questions? Awesome, awesome. So that's basically it for the proportional division stuff, y'all. Unfortunately, this class is not a perspective class, so I'm not going to dive too deep into proportional division. But if you are interested in learning more, Phil again teaches the applied perspective class, and I do also recommend like any sort of like environment class or like entertainment drawing for what was that? Drawing for entertainment arts. That's also like a really good class to take for this as well. But I highly recommend anybody who, if you want to continue doing more of this stuff, it's just it's a if you want to continue doing more of this kind of like artwork, so things that like involve like drawing buildings, rooms, things like that, I highly recommend taking a perspective class before taking more class, especially if you want to get into like if you're doing like illustration, concept art, or things like that. It's best to take a perspective class before you jump into those classes so that you understand how space and depth kind of work. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and upload this right now so y'all can have the demo. And then the rest of the class is literally just lab time. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I know a couple of y'all do have questions. If you need help, feel free to call me over. I can jump up to your seat and like help you. Otherwise, like it's just a work day. If you want to test out like a photo or like a mural, that's totally fine with me too. Like you draw a couple of them, test a couple of them. You should get the idea of like how this tool can be super useful. Like one way I also use the tool is when I had my solo show like years ago. Um, I took a picture of like all the walls, and then I measured out the walls, and then I measured out like how big I want it, and I literally just like Photoshop and distorted all my paintings up there, and it like helps so much in like setting things up. I also did that for at my high school. They invited me back to paint a mural there, and I did the same thing. I did the mural like on Photoshop, and then I like literally like distorted it onto the wall. Now, obviously, like it wasn't that hard. Some of the parts I didn't have to distort because I just like slapped it on like face forward. But for the part that I took at different angles, like I could like see how it looked at different angles, right? And for that mural, I really wished I took my teacher's advice. I just freehanded it, and it took forever. Um, my high school teacher was like, "You should borrow our projector and project it on and trace over it." Yeah, I was like, nah. I was like, I don't want to be. Yeah, I kind of felt like that. I was like, no, I can do it, but they didn't pay me that much for it, which is fine. I didn't mind that. But for the time I spent on it, I kind of wish I did it faster because it took away time from other things I had to do. So
And so you're always when you're out there like against the wall.
yeah,
So that's the hard part. Like being in the environment all day.
yeah. Oh, it was during the summer too, so it's hot.
So you want like see the most time you can, so you're not in that environment for too long, you know.
Yeah.
You like,
Some of the high school students helped out too, so it was fun. Some of them I kind of wish they didn't help out.
when I was in middle school, we did a mural as well. And it's just like there were again, like looked like two people were actually working on like a couple of us and like the person was running the club and then everyone was just like thinking, oh my goodness, this sucks.
It can get a little chaotic.
Yeah, I mean that's part of
And my teacher was like, "Oh, they want to help," and I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And then like one of them kind of messed up the corner, so I was like, "Oh shoot, I gotta be here for another 3 hours to fix it."
yeah, what is helping them to like throw painting across the whole thing and just throw it like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Let's take a look at it.
Okay. So I just want to double check the actually starting with things
Mhm.
like that's right. That was a little sure. So my mind's a bit respect. You know, this is like okay, so I do just lines. Just to try and understand what's going on. And it's like these red ones, I guess this is kind of like well, here's what this is that. I kind of estimate the red. It's like okay, yeah. And but then when I was measuring this wall, I'm like, okay, maybe a like a perfect corner right here. Yeah, so it's, yeah. But then like it was like kind of going off a different direction. Like this wall was over here, like way off. Like I ended up applying to the right point. This thing was kind of weird. So I was wondering like how exactly should I think about this if the reference is not quite like fitting with my perspective.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, it might be. Let's see. You mind if I sit in your spot real quick? So just be super. So for the first.
Oh wait, hold on, sorry. Just pull that off.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So I would say like if you can't get the perspective down, I would definitely like eyeball the parts that you don't know how to
Okay, I
do.
figured.
That's probably the easiest way. Um, and for this part over here,
You see the like like,
oh for sure. I'll get both just so I can have like. Really quickly, y'all. It's 9:03. Today's a lab day, so here's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap up the class here, and if you want to head out, you can head out. If you want to stay, I can stay until like 9:25, and then I'll head out too. Really quickly, y'all. On Wednesday, we have another optional critique. If you would like to post your stuff, you're more than welcome to post your stuff again. Other than that, after we're done with the optional critique, we're going to jump into working on the project again, project rendering. I'll show y'all, like, we're probably just going to be blocking in all day on Wednesday, and we might get started on some of the shading part, but it's mostly going to be blocking in. Once we're done blocking in, we'll go ahead and add shadows and like blend our edges, and I'll show you how to texture and all that stuff. But in general, like that's kind of our plan. Is I should be done with the with like the actual project by like next Wednesday, if not earlier. But otherwise, like if you do want to get like otherwise next Wednesday we do have a final one more optional critique before our final critique. And on the day that the assignment is due, we will have like a mandatory critique for that day so that everyone can get feedback on their assignment. Good to know, y'all. So there's a project resubmission policy in this class. You do have to get a 70% or higher. So if you are aiming to resubmit your assignment, just make sure to like at least, aim for that 70%. Otherwise, like that's basically it. Any questions for the for the class or any questions about anything I talked about before I start letting people go for today? Cool. All right then. Well, if you want to head out, you can head out, y'all. Thank you for class. It's always a pleasure to see y'all here. If you want to stay and work a little bit more, I'll start heading out at around like, well, the latest I'll stay is 9:25. But if everybody leaves, I'm just gonna leave too. But otherwise, have a wonderful rest of the day. Stay safe, and I'll see y'all on Wednesday. Yeah, of course, of course. Oh, also, by the way, y'all, I'm gonna start. You should see like the assignments that I haven't graded yet start to like. You should start seeing scores on them. Um, I will go through once I grade everything. I'll go through like how to fix like grades in case I mess up on anything. But for now, like if you do see scores updating, just wait until I get that announcement, and then afterwards I'll show you how to like fix any managerial errors. Yeah, of course. Have a good one, y'all. Stay safe. Have a good night.